Hello there, ladies and gentlemen! Welcome to another episode of the Warframe Digest, episode 53! And today we'll be going over Devstream 72 and its relevant topics. I had to watch the Devstream about 2 or 3 times because of internet issues, and I felt like I was missing details. But even though my notes are very small, there's a lot to talk about, and I kind of figured out why. So, let's get started. Well, they talked about a lot of design decisions about pretty much a lot of aspects of the game, but let's actually get to the key interesting details about some of these design decisions. So, what am I referring to? The operators. They talked about what led up to the operators being the operators as we know them, what led up to them being designed in such a way, why they have served a certain age group, why are they like this or that. Man, they have a lot of reasons behind it, and they will indulge us more in Update 19. That's what we have determined as of yet. So, with that being said, the operators also are going to get more content. Right now, I will show you some interesting little screenshots, as you can see here. This is a new expansion to the operator hairstyles. This is an expansion to the male hairstyles, and here you can see the expansion to the female hairstyles. Some of these look very interesting, regardless if they're gender-based, it doesn't really matter, considering the operators seem to be able to use whatever appearance and whatever voice or face it uses regardless of gender. So it can be a male hair with a male face and a female voice, or a complete total male with a female voice, and the hairs are irrelevant, so they're just extensions to the character. And it's up to us to determine what they are and who they is. And you can see here as well, boom, they are going to extend the accessories. Some of these accessories look very interesting. Let's actually make this a little bit more interesting. Boom, there go the 3D models! So you can see the 3D models are right there in the ready. And they also said, well, there is no evidence for it, but they have said there are more faces to be expanded on and more outfits to be expanded on. So different clothing for the operators. What is the purpose of all this, considering we will only see it in our ships or when we activate the operator's power? Maybe they might expand how we interact with the operators in U19? Who knows? Who really knows? And they also talked about Warframe changes. As you guys can see here, hello, the Banshee Deluxe skin. As you guys admire that Banshee Deluxe skin, I will go into some detail. They talked about passive Warframe abilities being implemented to all remaining Warframes that do not have any. So the list is pretty out there, and I don't know who has and who doesn't at this point, but I know a good deal of them do not have. All of them are going to get a passive buff applied to them simultaneously around the time that the Mag and Volt rework release. So they are intending those all to be coming out before U19. I'm not sure about the Banshee Deluxe skin. There's some talk back and forth that it might be U19. Maybe before U19. It really is up in the air. It comes down to when are the weapons for Banshee designed. So we're still kind of floating around on that. And yes, you did hear me right earlier. I did say Volt Rework. Volt is not getting a massive and drastic rework like Frost did or Excalibur did. Mainly Excalibur. Excalibur was pretty drastic. Or Mag is getting. Mag's is pretty interesting and pretty robust. Volt is already in a very comfortable spot. Apparently the community has been very divided. 50-50. 50% saying he's perfectly fine except for overload. And the other 50% is saying change everything! And that's not really the case. As a Volt player, I can say he was in a very good situation, just needed some more tender love and care, TLC. So he is getting it, and that's coming in the form of a few visual upgrades and some tweaks and enhancements to 2 of his abilities, mainly overall. And those are coming in the form of Shock is getting a visual update. It's not going to get changed drastically at all. It's going to be practically the exact same skill. Press 1 to shoot lightning at a target. And then we have Speed, Volt's passive ability that applies a team buff. They are experimenting right now on the dev cluster to drop a wormhole style effect where Volt activates the power so friendlies can actually collide with it and apply the speed boost according to the remaining timer, just like the actual caster. And it seems very interesting. Some people can opt into the speed boost, and if they were too far away, they can catch up and get it. And some people can completely opt out if they don't like the whole entire zoom same effect that Volt is known for. So that's very interesting. It's in the testing phase, so we're gonna see how it happens, how it goes, and we're gonna see what they resolve and decide in the end. As well as Shield is getting a new visual effect. It looks a lot nicer. Overall, it just looks pretty awesome. And they didn't say anything about change, but I've noticed that when Lightning or when Shock, his first ability, his first ability is casted through the shield, it actually amplifies the shield's visual effect, giving it a more of a lightning and robust feel. Does this supercharge it? I don't necessarily know. What would lead me to the implications that it's being supercharged? Well, as some of you may know, his Overload, which is his ultimate, has always needed a rework, and it is getting massively reworked, nearly completely reworked. Instead of being an aerial effect that trespasses through walls or traverses through walls, it's going to be more of a nav mesh styled attack. It will follow pathways and key location points and actually zoom around corners instead of just going through a wall to hit an affected enemy. It is still going to be radial, but it will not go through walls and puncture things through, but instead it will traverse along the wall and hit the enemies and create a very devastating effect. What do I mean by that? Well, enemies hit by Overload will be stunned in place, becoming living arc traps in a sense. Enemies that walk into people that have been overloaded will start taking damage over time, and it's gonna be pretty devastating. So affected enemies are constantly there just shooting anything that nearby. If a cluster of them are standing next to each other and they're overloaded, they'll zap each other, killing each other therefore a lot quicker. And if someone does survive and they're not dying quick enough, you could literally supercharge them with Shock. A overloaded enemy that gets supercharged by Shock will deal a lot more damage to any enemies that get close to that trap, to that newly trapped enemy. And it does seem kind of weird, but in practice, seeing it in play, it looks beautiful. Overload, hit 8 enemies, those 8 enemies become little turrets for you. Anything walking past the stairwell where those guys are gets zapped, and you just create a massive choke point, and it's pretty interesting. It does give Volt a lot more of a balanced field to play in, and it just seems overall fun and well deserved. And Shock will be getting a passive that was kind of a joke about just like rubbing your feet on a carpet and creating static electricity. So along those lines, Volt will be getting a internal electric buff or electric charge applied to his next attack according to the amount of time he remains on the ground. So let's see if he can get some socks and we can find a carpet somewhere and just start zapping everyone like crazy. And last but not least, let's end it with a massive high note. As you all know, the star chart has been a very big thing. It's been very controversial amongst the community, whether it's deserved, whether it's not deserved. Older players wanting the return of the old star chart, the web system, and this being the reintroduction to the web is very exciting for me. New players don't necessarily like the idea. They think that the current system is good, it's a system they know, and it's kind of split. Some people saying change is good, some people saying going back to the system is bad, and blah 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 blah. But as you guys have been seeing in the background, it looks pretty amazing. It's, well, at least for me it's amazing. The whole entire system has been said to be very random and diversifying the game overall. It will be eliminating massive amounts of nodes on sectors. So let's see Earth. Earth has a handful of nodes. It doesn't have about 20 plus nodes anymore. This handful of nodes have certain specific nodes that are never changing. Those nodes mainly rotate between boss tiles that will not change, so Counselor Vayhet will always be there, and other persistent nodes that need to be there for some reason, according to the game's mechanics. And every other node will actually be randomly rotating, some daily and some weekly, maybe some monthly. So some of these will be rotating periodically to give the game a lot more of a new, fresh, and feel. How will they be rotating? I'm assuming mission types, enemy types, and so on and so forth. It's all speculation at this point on. And they did say that they will be introducing the dark sectors in some way with a more cooperative feel. It's not going to be necessarily very competitive like it used to be in its first iteration. It's not going to be like it was in its second iteration. This is going to be a brand new iteration, and it's going to be a lot more client and alliance based and focused. And it's going to be more cooperative. They also will be allowing players and Tenno alike to be able to place their clans into specific sections of the map on their own whim. So if you want to place it in the Void, go right ahead. If you want to place it right next to Earth, go right ahead. If you want to go put it next to Pluto, I don't know why you want to put it all the way out there. Maybe because you're so far alone and no one bugs you. You can put it out there. So this has something to do with a new mechanic they're going to be leading into, a new mechanic they're going to be expanding on and testing with the clans. And I'm very interested to see what will this affect. Will the clans get bonuses, passives, benefits? Who knows? It's speculation at this point. Pure speculation. So, that pretty much does it for Devstream 72, and I don't know, tell me, what are you guys excited for? The passive Warframe buffs are very interesting, some of them need them. I'm very excited to see what some of them are. The Banshee skin looks very beautiful. Volt's getting a buff, and Mag are getting a buff will be very interesting. Both of them are going to be coming out before U19, which is going to be great. The star chart is mainly my biggest main concern and focus, and the operators. More hair, more clothing, more accessories. So, tell me in the comment section down below, what's your hype in this little roundabout? And you guys know the process. Like, comment, subscribe, do all the good things down below. And remember, Tenno, take it easy, have fun, and see you guys in game.